guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Anatomist, and today's video is a very special one which I'm sure you were not expecting. So I'm sure the medical students here on my channel, when you are studying anatomy, you know those muscles and the nerves, sometimes it can get so difficult and you're like, let me just go on YouTube and check a video that will help me understand this thing. You click or you search the topic you are looking for and this channel pops up, the Noted Anatomy. You go in there, you watch the video, and this thing that seems so difficult, it's whoever is behind that camera makes it very simple and you're like, wow, I love this. So you go in there every day to watch that video. Yes, guess what guys, today I brought you the almighty behind the Noted Anatomy, and here he is. Hello Prof, welcome to Anatomist.
Esther, thank you. It's a pleasure.
You're welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. Yes, I'm one of your subscribers, and I never expected to even see you in person, so I'm so happy to see you here. So let's just start the video. I want you to give us an introduction. We know you as the Noted Anatomy. Mm-hmm. Who is the Noted Anatomy? Can we know your real name, where you are, and all that? Yeah. Who is the Noted Anatomy?
Happy to. My name is David Morton. I'm a professor from the University of Utah School of Medicine. I serve as a professor and vice chair of medical and dental education. I teach primarily medical students, but I teach dental students and physician assistant students, as well as physical and occupational therapy students. And I've been there for 20 years, doing this almost 20 years now. And I love doing it. And so I've been teaching anatomy primarily, but anatomy and like anatomy, histo, embryo, neuro, phys are the topics that I do. And what happened is a number of years ago, I wanted to spend my time in class interacting with students, solving problems, as opposed to relaying the information. So I made these videos so students could watch before class. So during class, we could do problem sets. And about 8 years ago, some of my students said, hey, Dr. Morton, why don't you put those on YouTube, because it's a lot easier for us to access than behind a bunch of passwords. So I thought, okay. So I went to put them on there, and then and we talked about in class today.
So I'm sure my subscribers will want to know that story.
So and
how you didn't know the Gmail, if you had a Gmail. Yes, I'm sure they are interested in that.
Yeah. So we got talking today because I was thinking, hey, like I was going to put on and said, I don't know how to do a YouTube channel. My student said, do you have a Gmail account? I go, yeah. They said, you have a YouTube channel. I'm like, what? I didn't even know that. So what we did was I was going to put them on my personal Gmail account, and then I stopped that night and I looked and I was sitting in bed and was talking to my wife Celine, and I said, maybe I don't want to put them so that you've got all these videos of our kids and personal things, and then there's a video on heart valves. I thought, maybe I'll just create another one. So I went to create this, and I looked at my wife and I said, well, I don't know what to call this now. And she goes, you like music? And then she said, the Noted Anatomist, like a musical note. So she goes, the Noted Anatomist. I go, done. And I put it in, and so that's what it became.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
And even with the famous sound, shing.
Oh, the shing. So, and that was another fun thing that we were talking about today. So I had a chance to talk with Esther and Samuel, and then our professor Eric Faku as well. We don't see, but he's sitting right over here. So, who did a great job teaching their anatomy, because they really know their anatomy. So when my wife Celine and I, we've been married 28 years. We have 5 children and 4 boys. And when they were younger, we used to play swords with sticks. And the sound effects they used to do is when they hit the stick, they'd go shing, shing, shing. And so when I started making these videos, every time I put a structure, I'd go shing on this.
Without knowing.
Honestly, without knowing. And it wasn't until I'd see these comments, and then finally I had this one comment that said, hey, I just watched this whole video and I did not hear one shing. What's going on? So.
Yeah. No, that's actually very nice. Because when we were informed that you were coming to teach us today, everyone is like, "Ooh, shing, shing!"
That's funny.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah. So I think you've even basically answered most of my questions. How the YouTube started, which you've told us. So how long have you been doing YouTube?
So I started in January or February of 2015.
Oh, okay.
I started posting, and it has been it's been a thrill because I didn't think people would watch this. Why would someone want to watch a video about the oculomotor nerve? Why would someone want to watch a video about external hip rotator muscles? And yet it has been. And so the one thing I've realized is that YouTube is meant to be an entertainment thing. So I get that. And that's why people are like, you won't have a video that's going to hit like 5 billion views in one day because of a cat jumping and hitting a butterfly. But the one thing that I've recognized is it is their students every semester who are taking an anatomy class that are like, I wish someone would teach me about the peritoneum because I don't get it, or that didn't miss that lecture. So it's thrilling that people will use it.
How do you make it so simple to understand? Like something we are studying by ourselves, but it looks so difficult. But after watching your video, that mysterious thing becomes very understandable. How do you do it? It's really amazing.
Thank you. Yes. First. I think one of the reasons is when I was a college student, because in the United States we have like you go to secondary school and then you go to college and then you go to graduate or medical school. So you went to medical school. So what happened is I was in college the 4 years after secondary school, and then I was applying to medical and graduate school. But the reason why I mention this is during college I realized I really struggled in university. I was a B- student, but it wasn't because I didn't try. I really tried, and I just realized it was hard. I would say the majority of the lectures I sat through in college, I couldn't follow it. The majority of lectures, I didn't know what was going on, and I would go back and I struggled, and I realized most professors just throw up slides and then they just start talking. And the slide has 1,000 pictures, 1,000 labels, and I would sit there and I couldn't follow it. And I realized that I'm not dumb. I'm just not good at catching. I have a hard time following unless someone chunks information out. And I remember hearing someone say, hey, you know what the best way to eat an elephant? I'm like, how? They said, 1 bite at a time. So I always thought that. And there's actually a principle in educational psychology called chunking, which is you take a really complex thing and then you chunk it 1 piece at a time. So whenever I create my videos, I think, I wish my professors in college had done it this way. I wish they would have taken, and instead of showing 1 picture with 100 labels and lead lines, they go, all right, I recognize you need to know that, so why don't we take that same picture and show them 1 label at a time? Then I can follow it. So the reason why I try to make my videos that way is because I was that student who couldn't follow a class. I was that student who struggled in school. So I try to make my videos thinking of those students going, I was that person really struggling and looking around going, am I the only person that can't follow this? I'm like, I'm going to make my videos for that student.
We are really grateful. Your video really helped us. Even the brachial plexus, where you explained today, from how you started from the roots, and it just made it so simple with the mnemonics and everything. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes.
My pleasure.
Thank you. So yeah, why then did you come to Ghana? What made you come to Ghana? Be interested in that, yes. Because there was no way I had it in mind I was going to ever meet the noted anatomist. Yeah, so what brought you to Ghana?
So I remember you had asked about medical school. I had always planned, when I was in college, the first year I was in university, I went to Brigham Young University. So I'm originally from Toronto, Canada, emigrated to the United States, went to Brigham Young University, and so...
Oh, okay, so you were first in Canada.
I was born in Toronto.
Okay.
And my wife Celine, actually she was born in Trinidad, grew up in Haiti, then came to Canada. And we grew up together and we met at church. And then when I went to Ireland for 2 years, I served a religious mission, came back. And then I said, hey, I kind of want to go to Brigham Young University. It's for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I'm like, I want to go there for college and then come back to Canada for med school. So I went all the way down there and started doing this. And I took anatomy my first year, and I'm like, I'm definitely going to medical school. But I didn't think I would get in because, as I said, I really struggled, and I got a B- in school. My MCAT score wasn't horrible, but it wasn't great. It was just like this. So as a backup, I applied to master's degrees, and then I got into medical school and I got into this master's program, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to do this master's program in anatomy first and then go to med school. But that master's turned into a PhD, and I thought, I've always wanted to help do work internationally. And I thought, well, I guess I'm going to graduate school, I won't get that opportunity. So I worked right out of graduate school for 3 years, I worked in Iquitos, Peru. And all the projects I started nothing caught on, nothing got traction. And that was 2003 when I did that. And in 2005, the University of Utah started coming, and we're doing collaborations with KNUST and the CAF Hospital in Kumasi.
Yes.
So I came. So I came for my first time in 2005, and I was in Kumasi. So I've been coming once or twice a year since 2005, and the majority of the work was in Kumasi. And I found my anatomy counterparts, and the whole goal was how could we help with educational practices like we did today, flipped classroom, active learning, problem solving, use of technology. That's what I've been doing in Kumasi. And then a few years ago, I met the dean of the medical school here, and he would come because, like I said, we've been doing collaborations with our school and the medical schools here, and he said, can you come to UDS? So in 2018, I lied. 2017 was the first time I came here, and then 2018, and I've been coming regularly. And then Eric and Emmanuel were the anatomy instructors here. Right before COVID, they came and we worked together in our lab in Utah for 2 weeks. And so, yes, we've been doing those collaborations.
Right. So that means you were first in Kumasi, and then now in UDS. So you've not gone to Legon and UHAS, UCC.
So I've actually done. When I say done work, I guess you meet colleagues professionally. You'll do this too, Esther. When you become a practicing physician, you find these clinicians and you do collaborations. Some go on for a long time, some for short. So I've done collaborations with our colleagues in Accra, lots in Kumasi, in Ho, a number of years in Ho in supporting their faculty, and then most recently here in Tamale at UDS.
Would you say there is something special about UDS, or is there anything special about UDS?
I love
Or
UDS.
what makes UDS stand out?
Oh, I like that question. I'll tell you some of the things I like about UDS is that. So I grew up in Shelburne, Ontario, Canada. If someone says, hey Dave, where are you from? I say Shelburne, no one knows where that is. And I go, it's near Toronto. Oh, and most people know Toronto because it's big. I now work at the University of Utah. I'm in Ghana. People say, where are you from? Salt Lake City. They go, I don't know what that is. I say, it's about 5 hours from Las Vegas. Oh, I know where Las Vegas is. I like Tamale and UDS because if I were to say, where's Tamale? Or if I say, I'm going to Tamale, people are like, I don't know what that is. I say, it's very north in Ghana, north of Accra. Oh, and they're like, I know that. It's not the first thing people think of. And there's something special about creating exceptional work in an area where people are not looking at it.
Thank you.
That's why I like UDS. The spotlight is on Accra, and the people there are amazing. Spotlight's not at UDS. But the people in Tamale at UDS are just as bright, just as capable, just as have the ability to create exceptional work. For example, a medical student having a YouTube channel, talk about life on campus, either you or Samuel. That's the type of thing where the spotlight's not expecting. So it's ever that much greater when people are like, what? Oh, they're at UDS?
Yes.
That's fantastic. That's one of the things I love about UDS and Tamale.
I can definitely relate to what you are saying because, like I said, I was in Ukraine. When we came back, we were asked to choose any school of our choice. Our mates everyone wanted to be in Accra, capital city, wanted to be in Kumasi. You will not hear anyone say Tamale or UDS. But I said, I'm going to UDS. We had two choices. I selected UDS as my first choice. Everyone, which school did you select? UDS. Why? Why are you going to UDS? UDS. Why are you going to? I'm like, why not UDS? I don't want it to be why UDS? Why not UDS?
Yeah, why not? Exactly.
Funny enough, so when I was doing practice or internship at the hospital, you put a Legon medical or college student over there. You put a UCC, UHAS, and a UDS student. when they are talking, or you make them perform, or how do I put it, to take care of a patient. One thing that will make a UDS student stand out is how they are able to do this, their skills. Their skills, clinical skills. UDS, they start clinical skills from first year. So before fourth year, you are already good at the job. In other schools, you are doing more of the theory. So when they are in the ward, they can talk. You see the patients do what is needful, you can't do anything. So UDS students always stands out. And they do this problem-based learning. And it makes it's almost similar to what I was doing in Ukraine. So that's why I'm like, this is a right place to be. Accra and Go, like you said, that place, the spotlight is already there. When you go there, nothing is going to make you stand out. They are already populated. So we need people to also come here to make here also another good place as equal as Accra. That's awesome. Why I came here. And so I'm so happy you are saying that same thing. It's not just Accra, it's not just Kumasi. UDS is also a good place.
No, you bet. And it's north, it's very north, and often the more north you get, it's away from everything. So
the traffic in Accra, all that. Oh my God.
That alone, the traffic, yes, that alone.
Like, I'm going to this place, just a 30 minutes drive, but it takes me 2 hours. Why? Like, it's just so frustrating. So I think UDS is a good place, and I'm happy you are here, and I hope you're enjoying your stay.
I love it. I always enjoy myself. Always. This is the first time back physically in Ghana since COVID, so it's very nice.
I'm happy about that. Okay, so out of all this specialty, why anatomy? So I don't know if I know fully the answer to that. Or how do I put it? Did you always
know where it's going to come? So my father is Canadian. And my mother is an Italian immigrant to Toronto. So after World War II, and 10 years after World War II, Italy there's a lot of economic problems. And so my grandfather and grandmother and their 3 children emigrated to Toronto. My mother learned to speak English in Canada. She met my dad. My dad had dropped out of high school because he didn't like school. They got married. Then my dad went back to school and finished his high school degree. It's a really long way to say my dad dropped out of high school, got married, and then went to art school and started doing a lot of drawing, and came to a realization that he loved art, but it was hard to support his family. So he went back to high school, finished his degree, got into business, and did this. Now I mention this because when that time he was in art school, he goes, well, I have to know the human body. So he bought the textbook Gray's Anatomy. That textbook then followed him till I was born, and then we moved way north of Toronto in a very small town. Again, why do I like UDS? Because my whole life has always been away from the big places. We grew up in this small town called Shelburne. It's 3,000 people in Ontario. And as we were growing up, I'd look at the bookshelf and I'd pull this Gray's Anatomy book out and I'd flip through the pages. And I put it back, and all through growing up, I'd flip through the pages, and I remember thinking, there's no way I'll ever know all that material. Then I go to high school, and I take anatomy.
Okay. You're so good at it.
I got a C-. A C-, and I always say, I wish I could go see Miss Ritchie and tell her I got better. Yeah. So, and I thought, I guess I just don't know anatomy. So I graduate from high school, I go on this 2-year mission to Ireland, come back to Canada, and I'm like, I'm going to go to college, and in college I take anatomy. And for whatever reason, that's when it sparked. Okay. And out of all the classes that I got B- in pretty much everything in college except anatomy. In all my anatomy classes, I got A+, and I just thrived. And even though I'm not good at memorizing, oddly enough, and I just took off.
Can't believe now.
I'm not good at memorizing, but anatomy and then embryo, then histo, then neuro, and phys all came together. And so Esther, that is a really long way of saying that's kind of how I got involved in anatomy. Yeah. So.
That's interesting. So I think we are almost done here. One thing is that in medical school, yeah, just like how you said you didn't have it easy, it's the same for us. It's sometimes we are like, are we sure we are doing the right thing? We get confused and it's so difficult. Yeah, really difficult. Especially UDS, every 4 weeks we are writing exam. Currently, the block we are doing is pain. And so there is this funny thing we say that we are studying about pain when we are still in pain.
So
Yeah.
it's almost funny to think that,
I
yes.
know,
Okay,
right? So it's really difficult in medical school. So do you have anything to tell we medical students why we should keep pushing? Anything to motivate us? Anything to a reason why we shouldn't give up on this thing?
Yeah. So that's a long pause because it's a hard answer. Reason why it's hard is none of us like to do things that hurt, that are hard. None of us like to do that.
You
Because
like the easy life.
it is, because it's better. It's easier to do that. And then everyone will say, well, everything that's worth doing is worth doing well, and of course it's hard, and those are all true. It just makes it very difficult. And we often want the end result, but we don't want the road that gets there. And the more challenging the career we choose, the harder and longer the road. But the only way to get to that destination is that road. And when people say to me, hey, should I go to med school? It's like 7 years in the United States. So here in Ghana, be like, should I go to become a doctor? You know it's 6 years. Should I do that or not? Or should I do neurosurgery? Because after 7 years of med school, it's another 7 or 8 years. Should I do it? And I'll tell you a perspective that I try to remember, and that is, I'm like, all right, I'll ask someone their age. And they'll just say, all right, I'm 23. Should I go to med school? And I'm like, all right, let's say that you're looking at 10 years. Well, in 10 years, you're going to be 33 years old. And either you're going to be a practicing orthopedic surgeon or doing something else. But in 10 years, you're going to be 33. So in 10 years, what are you going to be doing? Oh, but it's really hard. Life is hard. The only thing you do is you choose the hardness. You either choose hardness, which is, I'm going to go not to school and I'm going to take a job that's less difficult, but that will put a financial strain that might not bring the satisfaction that it takes. That's hard. Or I'm going to do the block on pain, which is hard and painful, to get through it. So that is part of the journey to become a med student. You choose your hardness. You choose the hardness by not getting a tough profession, but then struggling financially, or you choose this area. And either way, in 10 years, you're going to be 10 years older. And I always keep that perspective in mind. The other thing I think of is that the world has a lot of physicians. The world needs more physicians that give a crap about other people. They need professors that care enough about students to create exceptional learning experiences. Patients always need the doctor who will take time with them. And so, yes, we have a lot of physicians, but there's always a short of physicians who care about their patients. There are always that. And so the why becomes so important to overcome any challenges. That was a lot of stuff I just did. Hopefully there's something in there that answered your question.
Yes. So thank you very much. One last question. Do you have any plan on taking us along where you are going? Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going, so yes. But yes, I definitely want to make sure I'm looking at the phone, but Samuel's behind that, and I want to hear more about Samuel's YouTube channel. And Esther, I want to take a look at both of your YouTube channels and see what you're doing. And then I'm looking over at Eric, who's the anatomist over here too. So yes.
All right. So the noted anatomy. Prof, I'm very grateful for showing up for Ewenam's space, and thank you so much. And everything you've said, you've really impacted a lot. Your videos are always impacting, and then seeing you in person affects a lot as well. Thank you, and we are grateful. And so thank you guys for watching. I hope you equally learned one or two from this channel, and I'll see you in my next video. I'll be bringing you content like this. So make sure to stay tuned, subscribe, and then share, like, all the good stuff. See you in my next video. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.